And we are live. Happy Friday night. Very special edition of Ballsy. Danny Ladster of the Fantasy Football Stock Exchange, Hamilton's finest.
Because I'm ballsy. I don't take no shit from anyone. Because I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. Anywhere I want.
I may or may not have had, the YouTube open on the other side and gotten cut off by myself. Happens to the best of us. Danny, we were chatting before the stream started, but how you doing, buddy? Big Habs win rolling into the stream. You're riding a high. How you feeling tonight?
Feeling well. Obviously watching that game too against the Buffalo Sabres. Gotta support the home team, baby. I mean, if you guys are unfamiliar with the lore, the Hamilton Bulldogs were the AHL affiliate, grew up with that team, and a lot of the prominent Habs players, PK Subban, Max Pacioretty, Carey Price, all came through the Hammer. So got to represent, baby.
Hell yeah. Candyman, how you doing, brother? I heard you were getting some spicy margs with Emo Cowboy. One of the the most hated man in best ball right now. Some are saying. How's your night going?
I might have had one or two or two. Well, we had a nice little dinner. We're getting the show started. Ballsy on a Friday. I'm feeling good, brother. Danny, always good to see you. I've been loving the content you guys have been putting out lately, grinding, getting it out there. I'm honest question. I don't know the answer. And this is for both of you, but let's start with Danny. How many real money Dynasty rookie drafts are you deep right now?
Oh man. So I believe I'm in 17 leagues, I want to say. Just finishing out a bunch of rookie drafts. So you guys know me too. A bunch of moves have been made. And just trying to keep building up the portfolio.
So too many to count is the answer. You've already had plenty of drafts.
Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. I mean, hey, we're not wearing the crooked sunglasses for no reason.
There you go. The annual sunglasses. Bindle's about how many deep are you, and how are you feeling?
You know what? I'm like trying to hold off because I'm commish of a lot of them. I'm trying to keep them balanced. I'm still probably in like 10 right now, but I'm trying to like stagger them a little bit so it's not just like so many at once. But yeah, it's going well so far. That second round is not looking great. I will tell you that. That is my big takeaway.
I've been trading out of seconds everywhere. I'm not in so many Dynasty leagues, but I had my oldest running Dynasty league. We did ours last week, and I traded all my picks except my first, and I got Jadarian Price at the 107. So I felt pretty good there. I have my second rookie draft starting tomorrow for a Fantasy Sanctuary Dynasty league. And then I've got some more after that. But I've been trading these picks away. I don't have any high, like top 3, 4, 5 picks. So I've just been trading them away and trading away all the seconds, trading away all the thirds, and just moving on.
Danny, I want to know your take on Jadarian Price, because I think he's very like divisive. I think he's probably like the most divisive guy, obviously getting that first round capital. What was your kind of view of him coming in to the draft, and then obviously getting that first round capital, getting the Seahawks landing spot, which we've seen be, a team that wants to run the ball for sure. But what are your overall thoughts on him kind of going into the draft, and then how you're playing that in best ball and in Dynasty going into the season?
So when we watched the tape on all these guys, obviously for our draft guide, I was actually a lot higher on Jadarian Price than I feel like the Dynasty market was. I feel like for the most part, the film community was on board with Jadarian Price. I mean, when you watch the tape on this guy, the vision, the spatial instincts, the ability to absorb contact, the natural build, like you do see an NFL lead runner in terms of the projection. Obviously, there was, a lot of controversy in terms of what the production profile represented. You don't really have a lot of, receiving production on that profile. Obviously, working behind Jeremiah Love in the rushing game. But honestly, when you do watch the sample size that he does get the volume, you do see a capable, potentially even top 10, top 15 level NFL runner. My comp for him was, similar to a guy like J.K. Dobbins, and it fully makes sense that they're drafting him to replace that Kenneth Walker role because I do think there's some stylistic comparisons there. Now, people are going to point to the fact, oh, Ken Walker, he was in such a committee last year. Zach Charbonnet. Number one, Clint Kubiak, he's not there anymore. Number two, we do have Zach Charbonnet coming off a late February surgery on that knee to the point where is he really fully going to be healthy by week 2, by week 3, by week 4? Is he a candidate to potentially start on the pup? Is he a candidate to potentially not play until week 6, week 7, week 8? And if that's the case here, Jadarian Price would have to be a gigantic bust to not pay off in a lead back role for this team.
Yeah. I think it's one of those, like, it is kind of a black box situation, obviously being stuck behind. He was behind, what was it? Not ETN. What am I? Estime, right? And then bring in, obviously, Jeremiah Love. So it's like, he had an injury as well. So it makes sense. He kind of stayed at Notre Dame, didn't, transfer around. So if he would have went to another team and been the lead runner, like, we would have seen a lot more of him. So I don't want to hold against him necessarily. I do think he's obviously super talented. I think I'm coming around on Jeremiah Love. On Jadarian Price as well. I'm interested to see where he ends up as we get later on into the summer. Because I think his price is tolerable now. I wonder if we get some like big reports on him going into training camp. He might get steamed up a little bit higher than I'm willing to, just knowing there is a little bit of variance late in the season with a Charbonnet, with some other guys in that backfield. But I agree, like, getting a rookie and kind of getting that start of the season where if he can show himself, he really can come on strong through the fantasy football playoffs. I think you got to kind of like throw out the priors, even if you weren't the highest on him, given all the information we have now. So.
No doubt. I think just quickly for me, it comes down to how willing you are to risk it on a first round draft capital running back. And it's just that simple. The guy's got the pedigree. He's a 5-star prospect. He's played for Notre Dame. He had the injury in college. He's playing behind Love. Didn't catch a lot of balls. We've all noted that. But that's not an unfamiliar, I think, profile. We've seen guys maybe not utilized in the passing game so much in college and come in the NFL and find themselves in a different role. We've seen guys have much higher reception totals in the NFL than they ever did in college. So I think the sky is the limit. This guy is an effective rusher. And if we can get that out of him with the Seahawks in a role where he might not be a workhorse or a bell cow off the bat, but he's definitely going to be heavily utilized. I'm thinking, is it crazy to think for the Seahawks this season, he's averaging 15 touches a game? I don't think that's crazy at all. I think that's kind of like the expected baseline, and that's pretty attractive to me.
Yeah, no, I'm all the way in. You mentioned Dynasty. I do have him ranked as my 106 right now. He's actually in a tier close to, a guy like Jordan Tyson, a guy like Mekhi Lemon. I do think, again, I would favor those guys on face value, but if you are in need of a running back and you're very, very deep at wide receiver, I wouldn't be opposed to even pushing up Jadarian Price up to the 104, because ultimately here, he has to be valued in that top 12, top 15 area in terms of dynasty running back, given the age, given the draft capital, and given the upside on a team that realistically, I mean, I don't have the sports book right in front of me, but where are they projected? 10.5 wins? Like, they're going to win 11, 12, possibly 13 games again. Like, Seattle's not going to stop being a great team just because Clint Kubiak left.
Well said. Yeah, I love that perspective. On another side of the coin, I just flipped over to my exposure, my pre-NFL draft best ball. I've got 9.3% Jadarian Price. So I'm not like the biggest bull beforehand when he was cheap, but I'm chasing him up. He's gotten kind of expensive in these drafts, but I think it's because we have more information now, and so it's justified.
Well, looking at the tool right now, my actual highest ADP value team, because keep in mind, we were talking about it. I drafted this on February 1st, 2026. So that was when I made it over to Amherst. I am from the Hammer, shout out Hamilton, Ontario. But an hour and a half or so, went over the border, got some big board teams in. And we're just talking about Jadarian Price. Like, the ADP value I got him at was at the 808, and obviously he's steamed up now 57.5. So we were talking about, we wanted to showcase like what my favorite team is of the 35 I did before the NFL draft. I would definitely say this one, especially from an ADP value perspective. in terms of how it's aged.
Yeah, this is a good-looking squad, and you do get that team-level correlation between Jadarian Price and Sam Darnold. Another riser, of course, you have Montgomery there, like very fun. Jonathan Brooks has been a riser. Emmanuel Wilson, you have the entire Seattle backfield. Like
That wasn't even
this,
intended.
this is a very, very interesting running back room, especially if you're going to start, with JSN and Pickens the way you did. You get a big rise in Devonta Smith.
Oh yeah,
Michael Wilson's been one of my guys all offseason, and
that's Candyman's favorite player. That's the next Megatron.
I guess
right there,
so.
Michael Wilson.
Josh Downs, amazing. Like that's a fire squad. That's a really fun one just to look at. Get a little peek there.
This is the best part of the portfolio. Obviously, I mean the Travis Hunter, the Jonan Coleman, we're going to work in there, but Omar Cooper, 74.3% exposure because I was getting him in like the 170s, the 180s, sometimes in the 200s. Like
you know ball. You know ball. Like I swear to God, every time we were on a stream, I was just like, why? Like we know he's gonna go up. Like we were getting so much smoke that he was gonna get drafted in the first round. And people like, I get there's ADP value that you have to like try. You don't want to just take them early every time, but like, yeah, that's easy money right there for you, Danny.
Yeah, and also a little sneak peek. Shout out another Jadarian Price here. Unfortunately, on the same token, I was taking a lot of Coleman, even though we do see the 23 ADP drop. Like, I honestly think the market is overvaluing the fact that he didn't go on day 2. If you had to hand pick an offense that's going to score points, that he can have a main role between the tackles at, I'm going to pick the offense that has J.K. Dobbins, who hasn't proven he could stay healthy, and RJ Harvey, who didn't get the trust of Sean Payton between the tackles last year, even when he really had nobody else to turn to. Jonah Coleman, I get it. He probably would have run low 4.6s, high 4.5s at the very, very best. But if anybody's going to be like the Kyra and the Scadaboo of this class, it's going to be him.
Yeah. What do you think about, and kind of getting into this subject, just looking at this team, how are you feeling on the whole debate around Jahmyr Gibbs versus Bijan Robinson?
I think it's razor close, but ultimately, if you got two superstar backs that are going to profile for a boatload of touches, especially both in the receiving game as well, both on teams that realistically are going to feature them in the red zone now. Obviously, you lose Tyler Algier, you lose David Montgomery. I mean, the tiebreaker here is I can see a scenario where the Falcons are the 21st best offense in the league. I can't see a scenario where the Lions are worse than 10, 11, or 12.
Yeah. What it comes down to for me, if I had one league and I got the 101, like my home league, I'm personally going to be taking Gibbs. I think he's got the goal line work and the red zone work to himself with Montgomery gone. And like you said, the offense is better. I still think there's a chance that Brian Robinson can be a short yardage back for the Falcons, something that Algier was last year. Algier had just as many, I think, touches, rushes inside the 5. I think it was that Bijan had. There was, had a similar number of touchdowns, rushing touchdowns. So I think there is that split. But at the end of the day, from a portfolio perspective, I'm not going to sacrifice drafting Bijan Robinson to be lopsided one or the other, because any given week, 17 or 16, they could both be running back 1. So like, that's my whole view. I think Gibbs has a little bit higher upside for touchdowns. They're both studs. Like, you want to have at least some of both, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're the clear 101 and 102. I don't think there's a debate. I love the wide receivers up top, but
you said the clear 101, 102. Can we make an argument for Jamar Chase is being undervalued right now and potentially could be going ahead of either Bijan or both?
I would go with the running backs, just knowing the fact that I think I'm favoring McCaffrey as RB3, but like,
I love McCaffrey. I'm so in.
Once I get the RB3 on, though, I have a lot more question marks in terms of like how I feel in that anchor spot. To me, when I compare that range of running backs versus Bijan and Gibbs, it's like you lock one of those guys into your RB1 spot. They're in the prime of careers. They've been so durable in their careers. We know for a fact they're going to project for, 22 plus points per game. Like, they almost feel like too big of locks to not hit, to the point where if I had the choice of where I had to pick this year, I don't think it's any debate that you should pass on the top 2 picks, just specifically of the coziness and the elite upside that both of them present in the package.
I think a guy that is, didn't have the best rookie year last year, but I think could be in this conversation next year is Ashton Genty.
Oh, yeah.
I think bringing in Kubiak, we saw him still pop off, have some big runs against the Houston Texans defense, had some long catches against the Houston Texans defense, improved O-line, bringing in some guys in free agency in the draft and getting some guys back from injury. And it was just such a dumpster fire. It's almost like, what was the Ohio State coach that was the coach for the Jaguars one year?
Meyer?
Yeah, it's almost like
Urban Meyer.
Like it's almost an Urban Meyer level of just like
Nepo baby O-line coach.
Exactly. So I don't want to like be holding that against him. I think we could easily look back next year and he's in the conversation with these top two guys. And so I think that's the one guy. I'm a little bit worried about Achane, James Cook. It's like he's good, but does he have that true ceiling of these guys, the other guys we're talking about? Hampton, I'm a fan, but I can see where it goes wrong. Those three guys, I think those are the running backs that I'm definitely targeting, but I'm with you on your takes as well.
For sure. By the way, shout out to A-Rod in chat. I will be rooting for Strickland, but I think Chimaev is probably going to win. More likely going to be by submission or decision. Where do I lean there? If it's by submission, I think it's going to be in the first 3 rounds. If Strickland can make it to round 4, I think it's going to be by decision.
Okay. All right.
That's my take, UFC take. And if you guys are unfamiliar, I used to do jiu-jitsu when I was younger, like 7 to 10 years old, right in the prime of the GSP title defenses. I got pictures on my phone of literally my parents back in 2004, 2005, Las Vegas UFC. They're like pictures of Dana White, Chuck Liddell.
Fans.
Fans, man.
Incredible.
Chuck, Forrest Griffin, a picture over there, like all the OG fighters. So like that was the era I grew up in. So like obviously I got that old head nostalgia of like, oh, Anderson Silva at his peak. You guys can never compare. And obviously like the new heads will be like, well, what about his losing streak at the end of his career? Like peak over fucking longevity when it comes to fighting.
Are you ultimate fighter fan? I remember I used to watch that
MMA baby. The Ultimate Fighter show. Oh yeah. I mean,
Danny,
Bonner versus Griffin.
There's nothing wrong with getting down on the ground, getting sweaty, grabbing some man, and giving him a good squeeze. So I like that you're a jiu-jitsu guy. I like that.
Chimaev's gonna be on top of Strickland for probably 21 of the 25 minutes in tomorrow's fight. It's not going to be pretty.
Strickland would want to keep him on his feet and be more of like a striking match for his. That's what he'd want to do, right? So
Chimaev just loves to take people down. That's his thing.
Danny, favorite MMA fighter of all time is it GSP?
GSP all day. You can't see it, but behind me, above the Puka jersey, I literally have a GSP poster behind me in my setup.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
If my camera was a little more mobile, I would literally go and show it, but it's like so fastened in right now, like it'd just be a pain. But I'll send you a picture after the stream.
Nice. Speaking of Puka jersey, one of the things I've been diving into, and I'm not actually about to put out a little bit more info on this, I think tomorrow, the debate around, like you said, so I'm firmly in the position that I love taking McCaffrey early. I've been hammering McCaffrey. I think I had like 18% McCaffrey pre-NFL draft because I'll take McCaffrey over JSN without blinking. I won't take him over Puka though. That's where I draw the line. And actually I like JT a lot too, but Puka to me, he has like an insanely elite high floor. And then the only thing that's capping his weekly upside is the touchdowns because Devontae's a touchdown magnet. So I think there's a great case for continued success with Stafford and Puka. The wheels could fall off if Stafford for some reason missed time or really hurt his back. That could cap some of the floor that we've been so used to with Puka. And then at the end of the day, like I said, it's like, who's getting the double touchdown game? Is it a Devontae week or a Puka week? So there's a little bit of a cap to upside, but his floor is so high. Like I think Puka is an easy like pick at ADP. I never like debate taking Puka or not.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, he basically, if I'm not mistaken, actually on a point per game basis, he outscored JSN last year. Obviously you dealt with the 1 week that he was out given the injury, I believe against Baltimore. He suffered, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I have him as my 4th overall player. You mentioned Jamar Chase. He's my 3rd overall player. The way I have my tiers currently worked out, I do have the Gibbs and Bijan, the top 2 running backs, in their own tier. Then I have it as Chase, Nakua. I do still have JS in there. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It was a big time breakout year on a yards per out run basis. He was over 3.5 last year. Very efficient receiver, and we could see more volume happen in that offense now, especially knowing that, who knows, man, Brian Fleury, he's not proven as coordinator here. He was working with the 49ers. It could very well be a run-first system like we saw with Kubiak. But that was kind of a foregone conclusion at the point that last year with Seattle, JSN was doing that on offense that was just so clearly one of the bottom of the league in terms of overall volume. So realistically, when I'm looking at JSN, I do still view him in the 5 spot, but I do view him after Puka and Chase. Next year that I have CD, Amonra, and Christian McCaffrey. And then you mentioned Genty. I have him, Taylor, Jefferson, Hampton, Kenneth Walker, and Devon Achane making up my 9 through 14 in their own tier. 1-2 turn area.
Nice. I didn't hear any James Cook there.
I have James Cook a little bit lower. I'm a little bit concerned in terms of the top end upside. I feel like everything worked out for him last year, and you still ended up with about 17.7 PPR points. You got the touchdown equity. Unfortunately for James Cook, you would think, given the play style that he has, he would be so much more involved as a receiver. And that just simply has not come to fruition. We're looking at a guy that was under 3 targets per game last year, despite being what you would expect to be an explosive space back. It was realistically more so just pounding between the tackles, scoring those touchdowns. So I think he's going to score touchdowns again, but ultimately when I compare him to the upside of guys like Devon Achane, Kenneth Walker, Amari Hampton, I'd even go a level down and say, what's realistically the difference between him and Chase Brown?
So I'm a big Derrick Henry and a big Chase Brown bull, based on not only what they did in the second half of last season, but how good those offenses are and can be at full power and full steam ahead kind of thing, you know, when healthy with Lamar, healthy Burrow. My big debate I've been having trouble with when I've been doing some puppies lately, or some of these dachshunds or these Frenchies. When I get to the 11 or 12 spot and the receivers are gone, I think Genty, Achane, or Cook. And that's where I start to figure out what I'm going to do. If I'm going to get one of them or both of them at the 12 spot. With Achane, I'm worried about the Dolphins sucking and the lack of touchdown upside. Genty was in a sucky offense last year, but he's already getting the touch volume that Achane has worked 3 years to get. And we know he's good as well. And maybe the Raiders will be better. Kubiak could be nice, improve quarterback play, all the above, better line. With Cook, I can rest my head on the Bills being a good team, but even things are changing there. So, like, how much do we really know? Like you said, lack of involvement in the passing game can hurt the total upside. But then when I look at Derrick Henry and Chase Brown coming in the second round, I want to pull them up every time. Like, both of those guys, I'm super stoked on.
Yeah, for sure. They're in a very affordable range right now. And realistically, when you get to the mid second, I don't really view much of a difference between them and like even the Jonathan Taylor range. Like, yeah, I prefer Jonathan Taylor, but if I have the option of starting with like a CD Lamb and wrapping back and getting one of those mid round 2 RBs, I would much rather do that.
Can't argue with that at all. That's very sound from like a roster construction point of view. I think it makes sense. Like you said, what are you giving up? What are you getting? For some reason, there's differences in tiers, and we'll get into it, I'm sure, in the draft. But I love getting a little preview from you on some of your thoughts on the first round, the second round, your exposures, the rookies. We've talked Dynasty. What do y'all say we hop right into a Best Ball Mania draft?
Let's get it.
Hell yeah, brother.
So this is actually the first Best Ball Mania of 2026 that I've drafted. Been saving them. I mean, the schedule release, we've got 6 days to go. So kind of slow rolling it into Best Ball Mania season, but got to break out the BBM for the boys. I mean, you know how much fun we had drafting these things last year.
Oh yeah.
You know, we didn't take home $2 million, but who really did, you know?
Well, you guys know the context of what happened with the account that myself, my co-host Corey, and our moderator Spicy Hot happened. So we got eliminated the semifinal week, and it was the Monday night game the Patriots were playing, and we had Drake May, and I guess they were on like the 10-yard line at the end of the game, and he had a running play, right? And he ended up sliding on the 2-yard line. And we ended up losing that team semifinal week, and we ended up losing by like 3 or 4 points. So if he scores that touchdown, we end up advancing. Well, that team that got eliminated the semifinal week would have outscored Sam Sherman's team in the final.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we did the count and we saw it. We're like, oh, really? The lineup we just lost last week put up 188 points in final.
That's a lot of Canadian dollars you missed out on there, brother.
Hey, that's why a lot of people will say never look at your teams after they're eliminated, because it can only cause pain.
There's so
painful.
much pain. That's something you're never going to forget. I'm sure that team, that bad break, man, I haven't had one that bad, needless to say, but I've regretted. I've had some teams that I've followed and I was like, what if, man?
Oh, yeah.
Danny, I want to get your take. I know, big Cowboys guy. Yeah, I have two questions for you on the Cowboys. First one, how are you feeling about that first round? 2 first-round picks, getting Caleb Downs to fall to you, getting the edge to fall to you at your second pick. How are you feeling about that? That's my first question. And then CeeDee Lamb, first-round pick, George Pickens, second-round pick, falling a little bit with, what's going to happen with him going in to this season. So give me your Cowboys takes before we get this draft started.
So yeah, with the Cowboys, I mean, I can't be complaining too bad whatsoever. Caleb Downs, you just get a foundational player to add to that defense. Obviously, you have Christian Parker coming over from the Philadelphia Eagles. You're probably going to run big time shell defenses. You need a smart nickel. Caleb Downs going to step in day one, immediately be the leader of your defense. Long term, Malachi Lawrence, obviously, this year, do I think he's going to have a huge impact? He's more so going to be a rotational edge, in my opinion. But in terms of long-term future here, he's got the upside to be your number one pass rusher. Donovan Ezraku, I think, is a very good edge, but also I think he's more of a stout run defender than he is a refined pass rusher at this point. So I do think if Malachi Lawrence does develop the right way, he could be the perfect complement to Ezraku. 2 athletic edges. One's a little bit better in the passing game. One obviously setting a better edge. Oh, and sorry, I'm trying to remember. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens. Pretty simple. I mean, I mentioned earlier, CeeDee Lamb is actually my 6th overall player. So even though he does go, I believe, 9th overall in ADP, I do push him up the board because ultimately I do think we're getting a big time discount. This guy is just coming off 2 years ago, 2023. He was the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy. You look at that 23.7 PPR points per game, the big time spike weeks he had down the stretch. And people have this misconception with Dallas last year that, oh, well, they were such a bad defense that he had a bunch of garbage time and he still didn't produce. Well, if you actually watch those games, the defense was so bad to the point where the offensive players were literally getting pulled. We were down so many points because we couldn't get a stop that CeeDee Lamb at times, especially dealing with that shoulder injury, obviously dealing with the ankle injury that he suffered early in the season, he was getting pulled off in the early third quarter. Like that Denver game, for example, specifically, he struggled in the first half. Didn't play basically for the entire second half because we went down so big. So people are looking at CeeDee Lamb right now and thinking, okay, maybe he's a tier 2 or tier 3 wide receiver, but I'm still looking at a guy that can contend for wide receiver 1. When he is fully healthy, he was clearly the number 1 read in every progression. George Pickens, very, very good man beater, very good X wide receiver, but the offense runs through CeeDee Lamb with George Pickens being the ancillary player. Don't get it twisted. I understand that there's a closer gap between Pickens and Lamb versus Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but the dynamic is far closer to Chase and Higgins than it is a 1A, 1B in my opinion.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I'm high on both of them. I don't think it's wrong to be high on both Pickens.
100%. And Pickens has gone at the early third round for the last how many years? I think Pickens is going in a very, very affordable spot, especially knowing that you can even argue it's a more concentrated offense because as much as I like Javonte Williams, he's not going to command the level of targets of the backfield that Chase Brown will.
Yeah, and that's another good point.
Yeah.
We've got Joe Burrow. We've got Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Maybe throw Jared Goff up there. There's only so many quarterbacks that can sustain high-level production among multiple fantasy assets that have larger receiving components. For the Lions, I actually think of Gibbs being that and Amon-Ra even more so than J-Mo, who's more of he's not as volume dependent, but he can be at some point. We could see that emerge too. But yeah, there's enough for Pickens and Lamb to eat. We've got the 107. I'm going to do my best job to keep us on track with this 20-second pick clock. This is a best ball mania draft for $2 million top prize over 500,000 entrants when this thing fills. The 107, you named a couple guys you like. I'm happy to take the players we want there. It looks like we're going to have our choice between, there goes McCaffrey, CD, Amon-Ra, Jefferson, and then you mentioned JT after them. Who are we going with, Danny? What are we feeling?
Hey, we were just talking about him. We may as well start with 88 from the Big D.
Let's go.
Go. Yeah, I'll take it, man. Sooner rather than later, I ultimately believe that he's going to show the level of ability, the level of peak that we saw in 2023, because people just seem to be writing him off. Oh, he's always banged up. All the hands didn't really come through last year. Yeah, sure. You can really point to the hands being something that let him down last year, but you can also point to the fact that he typically wouldn't drop those 3 or 4 touchdowns he left on the field.
Yeah, and the injury, it's, you got to look at it, from a larger perspective. Something that, Jamar Chase goes at the 101 in this one. So maybe someone was listening to me. I'm not completely arguing for Chase at the 101, but I don't think it's outrageous at all. In the same way you were saying, hey, a couple of years ago, we were taking Lamb at the 101. We're taking Lamb at the top 3 picks. I actually do think of JSN, Lamb, Brown, and Jefferson in more of a similar tier to me, where it's like, if I, shuffled the cards and then played a hand in week 17 and you told me CeeDee Lamb was wide receiver 1 on the week, would not be surprised. If you told me CeeDee Lamb outscores JSN season long, I wouldn't be that surprised. Like, I don't have to stretch the imagination very far to get there. So I don't want to be completely overweight or underweight or fade anyone in the first round in a large field tournament where I'm drafting high volume, but I do want to lean on a little bit of what I believe in, and I'm right there with you. Like, I'm happy to pull the trigger on Lamb ahead of ADP. He's a guy you don't want to miss out on.
Oh yeah. I mean, the people that were going up against him in the finals and the semifinals and the quarterfinals of that 2023 stretch, man, like the guy was putting up 25 plus half PPR points every single week, pretty much.
Coming back around in the second, we're up in 2 picks.
Genty would have been insane.
Yeah, Genty goes. Chase Brown goes. Someone's listening. They pulled up Chase Brown. Barkley goes, which I'm not huge on Barkley this year. I mean, Barkley's fine. I actually kind of prefer Henry a little bit. Ken Walker goes. We've got Henry, Rashee Rice, Hampton.
I love Hampton.
Pull up Hampton. He's about ADP. I mean, pull on the queue.
Yeah, is he? What's his ADP say?
Yeah, this is a good price. His ADP's been going around 16, 17, pick 18. This is exactly where he goes.
Perfect.
It's the Chargers. It's Hampton. We're investing in a young, stud running back. If he didn't get injured last year, he's going to get a ton of volume. There's no one else in that backfield I'm remotely worried about, but I think it's a good spot to be in.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting 4 healthy new offensive linemen. Obviously, Rashawn Slater, Joe, all coming back. You signed Tyler Biadasz in free agency. You draft a 2nd round interior offensive lineman. I don't know which one of Biadasz and Slaughter are going to play guard, but you got one to play center. You got one to play guard. You're going to have 4 healthy new starters from last year on your offensive line, and you're going to have a new offense coordinator with Mike McDaniel. Like, everything's there for Omar and Hampton to be a top 3 to 5 running back. And the upside could very well be, like, I'm not trying to sound hyperbolic, but in terms of the athlete that he is, the compact build, the yards after contact, like, why can't he be this year's Jonathan Taylor?
No, yeah. I'm with you. I heard you and Bush talking about in Dynasty doing some team reviews the other day. Is he worth 3 firsts? Probably not up to that range, but maybe just a little bit below that, like 2 firsts and a second in Dynasty. Like, I think we're getting a little bit of a discount on him just because we had that injury. If that hadn't happened, I think he could easily be a 1st round pick already this year. So definitely with you on the Hampton click. So
honestly, this middle area of the round, I'm actually starting to become a big time fan of, because
we'll scoop. We'll be scooping the value. We're back on the clock. We've got our choice. Obviously, Josh Allen might be there, but we can go Devonta Smith, Travis Etienne Jr., T-Mac, Kyron, Olave, T. Higgins. This is the range where, there's people kind of take their pick here. Devonta Smith's been the big riser.
I'm cool with Smith.
Yeah, if we go Smith here, let me look ahead a little bit. Pick 42. There's some decent running backs there.
Brees Hall, maybe?
Yeah, Brees Hall's gone.
Oh,
Josh
is he
Jacobs,
gone? Oh, shoot.
Brees and Jacobs just went. The top running backs available would be Itchen Jr., Kyron Williams, Javante. I think we just go Smith.
I'm cool with that. I think one of those running backs could fall back to us. If not, maybe we could pivot to a onesie, maybe.
That's a good idea. Because we could always anchor with Hampton, but I do like getting some running back capital early.
Yeah.
Let's do a little exercise before our next pick. I want to get your feel on the top remaining running backs. And if we get an ADP faller, we'll take advantage. But how would you, if at our next pick, which is going to be again at pick 42, so that's going to be all the way up around the Bucky Henderson, maybe even Montgomery. I've seen people pull him up, or Scadaboo. Out of the remaining group, who are some of your favorites here? In the team build we've got through 3 rounds, we have Amarian Hampton, CeeDee Lamb, Devonta Smith. So we went Chargers, we went Cowboys, and we went Eagles. Very strong teams, all strong offenses.
When I'm looking at this, so I actually really do like Tootin and Price. Now, the question that I have is, what is our next pick after the one that we have up top?
We'll have pick
Cheers.
55, which I think is a pretty healthy range to expect. We might get one
of those guys
or both of Tootin and Price available at 55. So knowing that, if we're cool with them as an RB2, we can also look at what our options are at the other positions at pick 42. So giving us some options here.
So a guy that, to no shock, if you've seen some of the dynasty stuff that we've had, but even in a redraft perspective, listen, guys, everybody's going to keep debating who is the wide receiver 1 and a high octane, young, exciting offense going into year 2 of a top 3 play caller in the league. I'm looking at the Chicago Bears, and we're going to have debates. Roma Dunze. We're going to have debates. Luther Burden. Why not just take the best of them all with Colson Loveland, and you get the tight end designation?
I knew it was coming. Michigan man.
Fuck yeah, baby. I had to give him his proper due because, man, 25 targets before his 22nd birthday in the freaking playoffs this year.
I'm not composed. I love getting a strong tight end. Do we want to go Colston Love here at 42? He's ADP 46. Probably won't come back around. And we like some of the picks that come back around to the other skill position, like running back, wide receiver.
I have him ranked on my 3-4 turn. Like I'm willing to get aggressive. Unfortunately, last year I was doing that with George Kittle, and then obviously his price did end up raising because he ended up getting hurt in season. But the process was the same because realistically, as much as I love McBride, as much as I love Bowers, if you told me Colson Loveland was the tight end 1 on the season, I wouldn't be shocked.
And also, George Kittle won Best Ball Mania, so let's just pattern match. Let's just take him again. No, but Colson Loveland, great offense, great player, could be the top receiver in that offense. Let's get some elite onesies. Let's take the risk. If Colson Loveland ends up a 2nd-round pick next year, we wouldn't be that surprised. That's where Bowers is. That's where McBride is. Who saw that season coming from McBride? That's certainly not me. I wasn't that true of a believer with the touchdown upside that he ended up showing. So the Bears, they can have a really sick offense with Ben Johnson. I think he gets the tight end involved. So I don't mind going there and getting the onesie, especially if you felt pretty good about our options at 55. And I do think, considering you were leaning more at the running backs there, I think that's the right way to go to balance this team out. We've got 2 stud receivers that should be the alphas on their offense. We've got an elite tight end, and we've anchored with Hampton, but it's about time to put some more capital, I think, in the running back position, unless we get a big faller to us. One of the things I was tweeting about earlier this week was, where is the elite tight end line in these drafts? And I actually got a lot of engagement, more than I expected on that. People are pretty up in arms about where's the elite tight end line. Most people seem to think it's somewhere either after Loveland or Warren. A lot of people would make arguments that one of a guy like Kraft or Fannin or Pitts or Laporta should be brought up into the elite, and they're a big value. Some people were even pushing for Kittle, his injuries bringing him down. But a lot of other people were saying it was just Bowers, or it was just Bowers and McBride. I tend to lean that it is Loveland as well.
Yeah, so I think the big 3 are those top 3 with McBride, with Bowers, and with Loveland. I actually do have Bowers as the one, and I honestly think it's more plausible to make a case of Bowers in a tier of his own as one than anybody else in that 3, simply based off the fact that, I mean, who's he competing for targets with?
Danny, we're back on the clock. Tootin and Price are both there. Swift is also there. Guy I don't mind either, but we could lean into the Bears. We took Loveland.
We got
Waddle and Dunze would be our options. Devontae Adams just went. Which one do you want to go with?
I think I like Tootin here the most,
Yeah.
just especially knowing that as much as I do love the price upside, there is still risk. Like, oh, maybe they take it slow. Emmanuel Wilson gets some touches early. Like, at least with Tootin, I feel very confident from day one he's going to be into a prominent 18 touch per game type of role.
Bindles.
Dude, I hear you're trying to steal my thunder. It was an accident. It will never happen again. That's right, because this is my house. There's only one master blaster.
Some college football, bitch. Virginia Tech. The demon in the cut. The Raiders in the trip. You moving wrong, we clip. You slap, my twin is on the us.
Toot, 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 toot.
We got to find a way to speed that clip up, but at the same time, it's so good.
Hey, Doobie was not interested with that.
All
Holy
right.
crap. Is Carnell Tate's ADP really this low now? It's insane.
So Tate is let's see, 60. So it's not. I've seen him go as far as like close to. I don't know if I've seen him go 70, but I've seen him go close to 70. People have preferences. Like Tyson's still there. Some people just take Tyson straight up over Tate. I've seen that. I've also seen Tyson fall in some of these drafts. I mean, that I've seen people drafting or doing or posting in the Discord or Twitter things. We're coming back around. We have a 2-2-1 build. Hampton, Tootin, Lamb, Devonta Smith, Colston, Loveland. Hertz is there. May is there. We can push it. We can obviously go for Dak or later on. Would you want to get Hertz here to go with Smith and get another elite tight end? Do you want Brian Thomas for our Tootin? Jacksonville.
I love BTJ here. Jags are going to be one of my go-to stacks. Guys, Trevor Lawrence was a quarterback of 1 in points per game after his bye week last year. Trevor Lawrence had elite spike weeks in the best ball playoffs. And yet Trevor Lawrence is going as a fringe top 10 quarterback in ADP.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me. I mean, the 9 rushing touchdowns will be hard to replicate, but he has that in his bag. And we really like the direction that Liam Cohen is going with the Jags. We want pieces of this. I personally want to hyper invest in these year 3 wide receivers like the Lad McConkey's, Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison. And speaking of, Brian Thomas and Marvin Harrison are the cheaper of kind of the trio. Like you have year 2 guys like Egbuka who are more expensive. It's kind of wild. You get a little bit of a discount on Brian Thomas and Marvin Harrison. I'm all in on both of those guys. So you don't have to tell me twice. I'll click them in the 6th every day. And
you know what it ultimately sets up later, right? Like it was a given with me on here, right?
Yeah. We all knew it was coming. It's okay.
Our favorite cornerback
page. I think we're on the same page. Yeah.
Our favorite cornerback needs to be added.
Underdog, gives you points for tackles and interceptions now. Just
you do get 6 points for a pick 6, so that could favor.
What? That's actually a thing.
I'm pretty sure.
What?
Yeah,
I'm probably lying, but I'm pretty sure.
101 him right now.
Yeah, click. So we saw Tate and Tyson go right before Brian Thomas. I get the hype. I like the excitement, especially for Tyson. Great landing spot. I think Marvin Harrison and Brian Thomas are a little bit slept on right now.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's a very nice range of wide receiver, which makes it even more prominent to get 2 or 3 running backs by the 5th round, I would say, this year.
So far, we have a very balanced build. We did go elite tight end, but we've got 2 stud running backs.
Wrong team.
3 stud receivers. This is crunch time. We gotta continue to fly this plane that we're building midair. Coming back up, we can take Dak to get the stack with CD. I think that's pretty prudent.
Dak and
Mondre is not the worst pick. If Dak for some reason goes, right, you can get Mondre there, get some volume, have some nice weeks. Harvey's, I've seen him falling into the 80s. He's pretty decent price. Jalen Warren.
How about
Dak's there? We just do it, right?
Yeah, I like Dak T-Law. I like that.
Be done at quarterback, 2 quarterback build, both guys that have shown top 5 spike weeks. Like, I honestly think, because a lot of people are going to be pro 3 quarterback, but I do think if you can get 2 of the top 10 options this year, you can pedal weeks very easily.
So I'm going to throw out one scenario to you. Given we're 6 days out from the NFL schedule release, are you feeling lucky, Punk? Are you? You going to draft 2 QBs
Oh, yeah.
6 days before everyone else knows they have the same bye week. Are you feeling lucky?
Worst case
Danny's
scenario,
ballsy. Danny's ballsy. He's willing to push it.
Worst case scenario, we end up with a unique duo.
I love it. Let's get ballsy.
Yeah.
Let's go 2 QBs the week before the schedule drops.
Fuck yeah, baby. Let's go.
Heavyweight! Yeah, buddy! Lightweight! Lightweight!
You think this guy?
You're gonna stop filming me in the gym?
You think this guy's scared of bye weeks? Come on.
Lightweight, baby.
Jim, people being afraid of only having 2 quarterbacks pre-schedule haven't accepted that all of their entries are going to lose anyway.
See, Jim is smart guy, very smart guy. You know, we're all going to lose anyways.
You know, listen to the guy drinking the spicy margs with Candyman. Slap that like, drop a sub. If you're not subscribed to Fantasy Stock Exchange, link, I put it in the chat down below. Appreciate it. Candyman dropped his new podcast. Go check that out. And we will be here all summer long, being ballsy, dropping, letting our nuts hang in the chat. And you guys aren't going to want to miss it.
For sure. I've been loving you guys do essentially year-round content, whether it's getting ready for the rookie drafts, you get into the best ball, dynasty talk, redraft, everything. I've been loving the content that you and Corey been putting out. Been good stuff over at the Fantasy Stock Exchange. So everyone must be subscribed if they're not already, but I know everyone here already is. But just in case, if they're new, if they're checking out the Ballsy stream for the first time tonight, make sure you hit the links in description and go show Danny and his squad, his team, some support. And you're going to love their content too. But you guys have already seen it. You already know. We're about to make this next pick at 90. We all have fingers crossed. We know what we want here. But let's talk up some contingencies because we just got sniped on. And we're on the clock. We've got Michael Wilson, wide receiver 4. We could take Dowdle, running back 3. Do we prefer anyone else? Mahomes, Purdy, push it.
I don't mind going Wilson either because we passed on Marv.
Yeah, we can go Wilson.
Yeah,
we get Candyman's favorite player in the entire draft.
There you go. Hey, Candyman just wanted the go ahead on that one.
I might be running 2 accounts right now, and I did snipe us with Trevor Lawrence. I'm totally colluding against myself in the best ball mania, but jokes. I joke. No, Michael Wilson, everyone in the chat knew it was going to happen. If it's going to be my first best ball mania draft of the year, we're taking Michael Wilson at pick 90. What could go wrong? He only outscored Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins, AJ Brown, weeks 9 through 17 last season. Ever heard of those guys? Because they all go in the 1st and 2nd and 3rd round. But Michael Wilson gets snubbed. He goes in the 8th.
Oh.
I don't know. He's going to repeat it. I actually think there's a better chance Marvin Harrison kind of can take that over and do what he was doing. But Michael Wilson scored a touchdown in 5 straight games down the stretch. I mean, he's averaging 15 fantasy points and half PPR per game. It was elite stuff. So this guy and he had a spike week. Of the players I mentioned, only Amon-Ra had a bigger spike week with 34 points. Michael Wilson had a 30-point spike week. I mean, the guy was just, of course, new offense, new coaching, new scheme. Same quarterback maybe with Brissett, but there is some scare that Brissett gets benched and they bring in Beck and he sucks and he's weird.
Is this a Brissett team?
This could be a Brissett team.
Is this
might be a Brissett team?
Is it a Carson Beck team?
Might be a Carson Beck team.
Maybe a Beck team. Pick 103. I feel good though. We got Dak at least, so we nailed that down.
Oh, yeah.
This is where I start to get worried about running back though. How are we going to figure out, which running backs are going to take us to the promised land?
I like Jordan Mason at value there.
Jordan
Rashad
Mason.
Rashad
So
White.
we're at pick 100, and then we get pick 114. So we should have a shot at Mason.
Yeah, I also like Rashad White. I think his ADP and Ja'Cory Cross-Game merits honestly should be flipped.
Interesting. I tend to lean JCM just because of his like breakaway run, big playability. And then when Rashad White got opportunity last year for the Bucks, he kind of sucked when Bucky was out. But I'm open to it. Should we just take Nix and kind of get a mobile quarterback, or worry about the ankle? Is there another direction we should go? We could do Pitts. We could do Pearsall. Kyler.
I'll defer this one to you. I'm cool with taking 2 running backs on this turn, but ultimately, whatever you're feeling, we can go Kyler.
I threw in a Kyler there just because I feel like
Kyler,
you really can't go wrong with the rushing upside, and you don't have to have him stacked.
Isolated spike week.
And also, we got the news on Juwan Jennings this week, and I don't think that people are going to be reaching for Juwan Jennings, so we can always backstack there. And Hawkinson's super cheap. So I threw in Murray there. I'm slightly afraid of the Bo Nix ankle. I don't know that we need to be, but I think he's in the same tier with Murray. And so we don't have any Broncos on this team anyways. It's not like, I don't feel like we're like, I think it's the same tier. Murray, Nix, probably Nix more than Murray, but there's no other stack correlation, just to make the pick. So I pulled the trigger on Murray there, and I think we do take at least a running back with the next pick or two that we're, given we're feeling really good at wide receiver.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely cool with that. Any of those running backs that we were talking about would make sense to me. Just anybody that can project into a decent workload right away. I am Rashad White over JCM, but ultimately I think just nailing that backfield is going to be one of the tickets to BBM, given the fact that if it's fully healthy, if Jaden doesn't, get hurt every other week, it's almost what it felt like last year. They could be a top 10 offense in the league, especially given the fact that there is optimism with David Blau. Some connections with Ben Johnson with that Lions scheme. They literally fired Cliff Kingsbury just to promote him in-house. So there's optimism in the building that he can get the best out of that offense. So whether it's JCM, again, explosive runs would be his case. Rashad White would be more of the trustworthy snaps, playing on those third downs, the pass blocking expertise, the goal line ability. But realistically, I think it could be, an either way type of scenario.
Where are you at with Dobbins and Mason? Obviously, Dobbins, they add a Jonah Coleman. Mason, has Aaron Jones in the backfield as well, but maybe it's a better offense this year. Gets the goal line touches. Where are you at with those two as we come up to these?
So especially for the context of our team, I think Jordan Mason would be much better, just simply off the fact that in that scenario, maybe Aaron Jones goes down. You have Jordan Mason there because only one running back's, starting.
And we're
on that
back
team.
on the clock. Do we go ahead and hit Rashad White? I think it's obvious, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect.
Let's rock it.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're totally fine. I was just saying, basically, in the scenario that Aaron Jones were to go down, maybe you do see some more passing volume from Kyler, and then Jordan Mason can optimize or cannibalize all of those inside the 5, inside the 10 touches.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna run through our team here, and let's see if we get any fresh ideas on how we want to finish this back half. We have 8 picks left. We have a 2-3-4-1. We started off with CeeDee Lamb. We stacked him with Dak. So we've got our Dallas double. We have Amari and Hampton, our only Charger. Devonta Smith, our only Eagle. Colston Loveland, our only Bear. We have Tootin and BTJ. So we do have a nice team correlation there for Jacksonville. That feels very good at that draft capital. Michael Wilson's our wide receiver 4. We've taken a pause at wide receiver a bit to finish, getting our QB2 in the QB pocket here, pick 9. And then we took Rashad White. And I feel like, yes, he's a part of a good offense we want a piece of. I like the way you were describing his floor, his involvement in the passing game. We know he's a big, strong back. He can handle a load. And he's proven. He's a veteran. So getting him in round 10, I think is perfectly good price. Mason does go. Aaron Jones also just went. I was hopeful that maybe one of them would come back around to pair with Kyler. Could have been kind of fun. Pick 127 coming up. Tyrone Tracy goes. Are there any other running backs that we need to get? Because we're kind of coming to the end of the line, and we might just be pushing it and getting some more volume later if we don't get one more sooner. Do we like Gainwell
here? I don't hate him here.
I don't hate Gainwell here. Do we prefer someone like Ferguson for the double stack or Kittle that might get us access to some big weeks when it counts at the end? Kelsey's still there. QB wise, I think we probably hold.
We should be good at quarterback for now. Yeah.
And then wide receivers, I also think this tier is kind of.
I'd probably say because we're weaker at running back 3, getting an RB4 here would probably be the optimal play. Just knowing how dry it gets after I think Gainwell gets off the board.
Bendels, do you feel good about and Danny? Do you feel good about Gainwell and his new team, and he can have a similar role to last year? Or
I just think even for the implied upside, if Bucky were to go down, like that's an
Yeah.
offense that could potentially bounce back into a top 10, top 12 unit. I'm not willing to say they're going to go to, the heights that we saw with Liam Cohn, but at the same time, like we've seen Baker be a good quarterback in the league before. We know what the offense looks like when the offensive line is a lot healthier. Last year, dealing with a bunch of injuries. So ultimately here, when I'm looking at the Buccaneers, like there is some positive regression if those offensive players can stay healthy. Obviously in this scenario, you'd be rooting against Bucky Irving, but with the rest of the offense staying intact, we could be talking about, Gainwell, his ability in the receiving game, his ability inside the 10, inside the 5-yard line, like we saw with Pittsburgh last year, getting those valuable touches, getting those critical touches, third down, short down and distance, long down and distance. Like he was being used in those critical situations. And ultimately he's just the type of running back that gets a lot of trust from head coaches.
Yeah, I think the running back makes sense there, given that we took Loveland right that early. I think just structurally, as much as I'm not a huge Gainwell guy, but I think just structurally it makes sense. There's lots of late tight ends that we like to pair with the Loveland as our tight end 2, tight end 3, if you want to go that route. So yeah, feel very good about that Gainwell pick.
Well said.
Upside shot.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna say upside shot with the spike week upside.
100%. I think the floor is super low for Gainwell week to week, but he showed us a giant spike ability last year, and involvement in the passing game is awesome. So I really like that pick for us. And foregoing tight end when we have Loveland makes so much sense. So it's a good point. Also, Bindles. So Juwan Jennings is there. It's about 10 picks ahead of ADP, but we get the stack. We could take him. We could take McMillan. Otherwise, it'd be like taking Sadiq or even Brenton Strange, who probably comes back around more than I think about it. We could take Daniel Jones, get him early. Where do you guys want to go?
I'm cool with the receiver or Sadiq. Maybe
it popped off onto Jennings. I talked.
That's totally reasonable.
We get the stack and we feel decent about it. We did. I mean, it's our wide receiver 5, and we took a little break there. Jennings had 9 touchdowns last season. The guy can get involved.
Good amount of money too.
Yeah, a decent amount of money, $8 million for 1 year, and we'll see. I think we're just kind of looking for a guy that can hit the flex a few times. You don't have to ask for much.
If Sadiq makes it back.
And if he doesn't, the other point, and there goes Sadiq, was Hawkinson has been very cheap. So I think we can even get Hawkinson at pick 162 potentially. I'm going to go ahead and throw him up there just so we keep a tab on where he's going. Yeah, his ADP is 162.
Not bad.
Brenton Strange could be another bet on Jacksonville that we could make if he happens to be there. Quarterback-wise, I'm starting to think, even if they're unstacked, Daniel Jones or CJ Stroud is interesting. We did talk about going 2 QB, but I just want to keep the option open if we see one of those guys for some reason fall. But I've noticed there's a good amount of teams on the board that only have one quarterback. The team in the 1 spot and the 2 spot have one quarterback. The team in the 12 spot has one quarterback. The team in the 10 spot actually only has 3 receivers through 12 rounds, and they had 2 receivers through 11 rounds. They started Justin Jefferson, I wanted to point out, and then they took Godwin and Shakir. So that's a pretty bold start from Bowtown. Maybe he knows something we don't, but otherwise, I think most of these teams look more fairly balanced. There goes the team in the 1 spot does take Daniel Jones. So I'm starting to see a little bit of the last of the team needs get filled out. And I think from here on out, pick 150 for our last, 6 picks. I think we just take whatever we want, throw ADP out the window, start to build the team we want and the guys we like.
Where's Travis Hunter in relation to the ADP right now?
Oh God, I spoke too soon. This would be a relevant range to going for Travis Hunter. He goes 159, and our next pick is 162. But if we wanted the chance to go Hawkinson,
well, because if we're gonna go Hawkinson anyways, and he's a round later in ADP, do
you want to bring up Hunter now?
I am totally down. You're never going to talk me out of taking that guy.
Let's take him.
Let's get ballsy.
What up, energy nigga? It's Rio. Legendary shit, nigga. Catch a nigga slipping at the light, make his heart drop, cut the green beam on, make his car stop. 2 3s, hit his engine block and cut the car off. Jump on the nigga head off, yellow Zanny, score that bar hop.
Man, that got me feeling good.
go.
That got me
Got me
feeling good.
feeling nicey.
It got me feeling nicey. Nah, people will look you in the face and say, "Oh, well, he was never drafted to be a receiver. He's always a better cornerback than he was a receiver." And then it just takes the GM and the head coach to confirm, no. This sick wide receiver who broke out before he got hurt is definitely still going to be playing fucking receiver. Like, it's not that hard.
It doesn't have to be hard. Every pick from here on out is a 0 anyways. You might as well get a 0 that was drafted 2nd overall in the NFL draft and is a sick receiver, has sick hands, Heisman winner that goes on, Bolitnikoff winner.
Parker Washington, who?
Amen.
We're coming for you, Parker Washington. Although I do kind of like Parker Washington. It's hard. I like every Jacksonville player. I'm kind of with Danny here. They're all fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we just take Hawkinson here probably.
I hope this guy does need a tight end and Hawk's the next one available. If we get sniped on Hawk, which we could, he goes Barner. Okay,
Yeah,
nice. Nice to know.
I would make a case for B-Rob here. I kind of like B-Rob. He gives you a little bit of standalone role and crazy contingent upside. I don't know if I I feel like Hawk or
we want to push it.
If you guys can outvote me, I'm not gonna.
I'm down for whatever.
I just kept Hawk in the queue because we preconceived it so much, and I know you're making the argument for B-Rob there. He might come back around. I think it's pretty unlikely that he does. This team only has 3 running backs, and he has 2 picks before us.
What's the running back board look like?
But he could go for some rookies. So I liked what you're getting at there, though. We need to go for running backs with some volume here. If we're going to stop with 2 quarterbacks, and I think we're on track to do that, this is probably going to be a 2, could be a 2-6-7-3, could be a 2-7-7-2 type of build. I think we do have to attack running back with a little bit of volume.
Okay.
Because we don't really need much else at receiver. We're pretty strong at receiver with the 6 that we've got. And if anything, we get one more receiver just to cover up our double Jacksonville stack with potential buys if it really badly overlaps somewhere else, or just the injury risk, having a little bit more depth, or maybe a breakout upside rookie. Because I don't think we have a rookie yet receiver. So, think, through your head right now, your favorite breakout rookie receivers, and we can start to queue up some of those guys too. I'm happy to get a 7th in that case. I feel like we also could stop at 2 tight ends in which we could end up going, 7 receivers and 7 running backs. The thing about running back though, is they start to get really shitty. And so it's like, they're all going to be 0s anyways, but some of these 0s you might as well just not take and end up going with the extra depth at tight end where you actually might get a week out of them or something. Is kind of where I'm thinking, because the running back landscape right now is a minefield.
Oh, yeah. Let me see here.
We got Mike Washington. I don't hate Mike Washington. I'm not gonna.
I like Bigsby a lot.
Bigsby.
Yeah,
we can go Bigsby. I'm good with that.
It also
would make sense.
Eagles, Devonta Smith, Bigsby, get some correlation, some team level correlation. I think Bigsby's kind of analogous to Brian Robinson, so I feel like they're in the same tier, right? So we didn't really lose too much there.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
How do we feel about tacking on a 3rd? If we get even if down to an Aaron Rodgers, I don't know, especially if we're talking about a 3rd tight end versus a 3rd quarterback. I think
the 3rd quarterback. We have Loveland.
Yeah, I think I just lean 3rd quarterback.
Not a bad idea.
It's only those 3.
Even we have Michael Wilson.
Yeah, we could go Brissett.
I'm starting to have some fear about Brissett actually getting benched at the end, and maybe we don't need him at the end, but it is nice to have I guess you can make the same argument about Tua, I guess. Maybe Geno. I feel like, do you guys have any sense that Geno and Rodgers might be more likely to continue starting and not get benched?
I actually really like Geno. The Jets are going to be one of the teams that I'm targeting late in these drafts, and I've gotten burnt by that before. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, I've been in the Jets before, and that hasn't worked out too well for me. But when I'm looking at this Jets offense, the only thing that I think can realistically harm it would be just Frank Reich not being able to adapt to the current game. You look at the offensive line, very, very strong. Geno Smith has played high-level football before, at the very minimum, top 15 level quarterback play in the league. Even if your expectation is more so he's in the 20 through 25 range, that's an upgrade over anything the Jets have had in years. Then you look at the weapons, man. You draft Sadiq in the 1st round. You draft Omar Cooper in the first round. You obviously already have Garrett Wilson there. Like, I'm looking at the Jets from top to bottom, and I'm just struggling to find holes in that offense, realistically. From a player personnel perspective, again, we'll see what ultimately happens with Frank Reich, but
Damn.
he's just
Do you know what the pick
average.
before us?
That's hurt. That hurts.
We haven't taken a rookie receiver yet, but Calvin Ridley's sitting there. Is he dust or is he a good pick?
He is dust, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm out on that
Tua, Brissett, Trey Harris, Emmanuel Wilson.
I guess we're Emmanuel Wilson, sure.
I was gonna say Brissett, but that's fine.
Damn. Okay. Well,
Brissett next, then sure.
Brissett's been falling. I don't know. You know, maybe I wish
The only guy that could take him is like the Marv owner, probably, right? Who does he have?
Either the Marv or the McBride owner. And let's go peek over at their teams. The Marv drafter was right next to us over here. He's got 3 quarterbacks. He's got Stafford, Willis, and Young. He probably doesn't go 4. The McBride drafter only has 2 QBs, and he has Hurts and Jones. But he also passed on Brissett twice. Will he pass on Brissett again? I mean, he passed on Brissett to go Hill. So that maybe he would take him here. The ADP is starting to get a little bit appetizing.
Hill's going to be a 0, bro. He had the tank Dell.
He goes Ray Davis.
Hey, Tyreek Hill, I don't understand the optimism for it. Like, he had the freaking tank Dell injury as an over 30 wide receiver.
There goes Brissett. I didn't notice it, but the draft from the 2 spot still only had 1 QB this entire
That's
time.
tough.
But it's okay. I mean,
It's not the end of the world. It's not the end.
We talked about 2 QB like the whole draft. I think we stand strong. I don't think Brissett adds that much to this team, but like you said, he kind of does add some value above replacement compared to like a tight end. There's the Tua discussion. I mean, Tua's still there. Is he someone worth taking or nah?
He could be, depending what the price is. I don't mind going super greasy and taking a.
We have 2 picks left. We have a 2-6-6-2 build.
Do we go running back, receiver, or do we want to tack on a quarterback? Just hope for that, like get a couple starts out of them.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's go running back, receiver. The guy that I was going to take at receiver, Ryan Flournoy, just went off the board. Thank you.
Braylon Allen. We got not that much time here. Vidal. Any running backs here?
We go with Branch.
Sure. Let's do it.
I'm gonna throw Branch in there. Just as a fun upside rookie pick. There's not really like a true second receiver after London and Pitts. Am I forgetting someone? Like, who am I, for Atlanta? I know they've already got a lot of weapons with Pitts, Bijan, Drake London, but
they got Zacchaeus back, baby. Let's go. Wait, they got Austin Hooper back? What a throwback.
That is a throwback. That's the Matt Ryan days back when.
He's back to the homeland.
You know what I heard recently that I didn't actually know? Zachariah Branch, his dad was like a Mr. Olympia.
What the heck?
Who does that remind you of?
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
They said Zachariah Branch weighs 177 pounds and he did 225, I think 25 times.
That's more than
that's fucking insane.
I'm kind of still in on Zachariah Branch. I know like we talk about like all these like gadgety like guys, but like it was at Georgia and like I think it was partially just like they want to get this guy the ball, and I think he has more juice than your typical like just gadgety type guy. Like, yeah, there's a lot of guys where like they're kind of small, they're like, they're kind of fun. I think Branch might be like a little bit above that tier, just like in the amount of juice he has. Like he has crazy juice.
Well, you're hoping he goes the Zay Flowers path, but realistically, given where he's going in best ball specifically, if he ended up being Rondale Moore, is it really like the worst?
We're on the clock for our last pick. Do we want to go to I threw up in Njoku. He's obviously a free agent, kind of interesting. James Conner, Adam Randall, Chris Brooks.
I won't turn down an Adam Randall. He's
Adam Randall. Yeah, let's rip it.
Yeah, 6'3", 235, man. We got the prototype Henry backup that we were waiting for.
Hell yeah. I like it a lot.
Doesn't hurt to have a Ravens running back. You never know what can happen there, right? We know Henry's not going to play more than 55% of the snaps. And so there's going to be someone to come in there and take some of the work, right? Part of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like the Zay Flowers comp. Do I think he's as refined as Zay Flowers as a route runner, like as running on the outside? No,
Yeah.
but I think like athletically and the play style, it's very similar. So we took him in the 17th round.
Yeah.
So it's like we only need 1 or 2 spike weeks, but I do think there's a little bit more juice in his profile than people are giving credit for, just based on kind of the archetype. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I think it is a little bit of an ambiguous wide receiver room there. Obviously, like if he can be the wide receiver 2, obviously you have Pitts there, but I think there's definitely some opportunity in the offense. So.
Well, Flyfish, we're talking about a 3rd round dynasty rookie pick. We're talking about a guy that just went in the 18th round of our best ball draft. Like, yeah, no, he's not Zay Flowers, and I think we can all acknowledge that he's not Zay Flowers, but there are some stylistic similarities. Zay Flowers is obviously a lot more refined as a route runner. I'll give him that credit, but I mean, this is just a freakish athlete. He can move across the middle of the field. He, in terms of the yak ability, he's able to make people miss. He has 4.2 speed. Like, yeah, it's more likely he's going to be in the Curtis Samuel, the Rondale Moore area. But what if he is Zay Flowers? Like, what if he does develop at the next level? What if there is some more meat left on the bone? He had some injuries in college. Obviously, he transferred to Georgia. Georgia this past year, from a pass game perspective, you can say left a lot of meat on the bone with Gunnar Stockton at the helm. Like, I don't know, man. Like, again, I'm not the highest on Zachariah Branch. Like, I think he's a fringe top 12 to 15 receiver for me in this class. But it's impossible to say that he doesn't have the upside to be a legitimate top-end player. There's a reason why he was the number 1 wide receiver in his recruiting class.
And his dad was Mr. Olympia. This is the Ballsy show. We're all about getting swole, getting jacked. Arnie, the
Wait! Yeah, buddy! Wait! Wait! Wait, baby! Go!
That's all I need to know.
Yeah, that's epic.
Easy game.
Danny, I'd love for you to give us a rundown of this dominant, incredible, ballsy 2772 build. Aren't you worried about bye weeks at your QB and tight end team that we just drafted?
Never. At the end of the day, if it was meant to be, it's meant to be. If it aligns that way, we're going to get unique. Sorry.
No, what do you think about this team? Give us a little play by play, the pick by pick through this, how we built this one out.
Yeah, so obviously we got sniped in some spots, but realistically here you have 2 guys that we believe can be anchors at the running back spot, along with guys that kind of blend into potential early season workloads. You got some upside built in there with guys like Tank Bigsby, guys like Adam Randall. I do think this is a good blend. I think this is the perfectly constructed 7 running back build. Maybe you would have preferred, if you're not big on Tootin, to grab a running back before Tootin, but because I'm extremely high on Tootin, I'm perfectly comfortable with him as my 2.
Yeah. I agree.
Receiver, I mean, you start off CeeDee Lamb, a guy that can be the wide receiver 1 of the year. Even if you're lower, you have to consider him a mid wide receiver 1. Feel good about that. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown's out for a reason. He didn't vibe with this offense. Devontae Smith has always been the quiet guy, always was ready to be into this role from a talent perspective, but from a volume perspective, I mean, you have AJ Brown in that offense. You were never going to truly peak. We saw what it looked like when AJ Brown did miss time. We have the legitimate top 15, top 12 level ceiling here. And ultimately, could this be a Stephon Diggs type of situation where now that he's the number 1, he can truly blossom?
Nice.
Yeah, I like that a lot. We got your guy, Travis Hunter, it's only right. And, Michigan man, Colston Loveland here for our tight end room. So yeah, I like this team. It's not one of those where we got all the chips to fall in our favor, but I think very, very solid squad, and got some of our fan favorites, Colston Loveland, Michael Wilson, wide receiver 1. We're feeling great.
Boys are rolling.
We would have liked to, of course, gotten Trevor Lawrence with our double stacked Jacksonville receivers and Tootin, but it's okay. It's a big team bet on Jacksonville still. Pretty much what we're saying is CeeDee Lamb is the first round pick you need, and Hampton is the running back you need when it matters. Week 17, they're going to get us there, and they're going to win it for us. Tootin is our second shot. I don't think a single other one of these running backs can do much for us except for hit the flex a couple weeks and keep us floating, which is essentially what we need with the volume here. So it's a huge bet on Hampton and Tootin. That's the kind of risk reward we're looking for because we allocated the right amount of draft capital to each position group. We have 2 early middle quarterbacks that have great ceiling. Both of them could be top 8, finishes on the entire year, and any given week can give us a nice finish, maybe the QB1. I don't know that Dak can separate and get us 35 points like we saw Purdy with the 2 rushing touchdowns last year. I think Kyler could, though. So that's kind of a good balance for us, the pocket passer with the rushing upside QB. The wide receivers, I wouldn't even say it's a little bit thin. Honestly, you have a CeeDee Lamb receiver room. We believe in Devonta Smith. We believe in Brian Thomas. Michael Wilson could be fun. If not, the draft capital is not going to sink us. Juwan Jennings for a stack, Travis Hunter, the team stack, a rookie. And then we took the stand on elite tight end. And we said, actually, if you don't have Colston Loveland in week 16 or 17, or maybe even week 15, 16, and 17, maybe he goes on a historic run. He's going to separate. He's going to put up, 24, 25 points at tight end when we need him to win this tournament. And the next highest tight end is going to be at like 13 or 12 points. And so it's going to be a terrible week. Everyone's going to be mad. No one's going to win unless they have Colston Loveland. They're going to be happy you took him. That's the kind of narrative here that it would take for this team to win. And I don't think it's that crazy. I don't think we have to thread that many needles. I can see how having the draft capital, we have some major winners up top at each position group. They can get it done. So I don't think it's a stretch. It's not like we're just trying to piece together any of these position groups. We've made some calculated bets with our draft capital. And then we just, the later picks don't really matter. They're all zeros anyways. We're all going to lose anyways. Have some fun. Take an Adam Randall. Take a Zachariah Branch, Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, honestly, how cheap he is, it's all upside.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry, I'm just reading the comments. Saying with those 2 quarterbacks was wise. Personally, adding Branch to a wide receiver room with BJ Hunter is imprudent. Think Fed floor. Yeah, no, I think that's a reasonable shout too. If you wanted to add more of a steady Eddie at that spot.
I think for vet floor though, every single receiver on that team was vet. That was the only rookie we took was our last one. So I think there is some asymmetric upside to being like, hey, we just throwing a dart on a rookie because we already know what we're getting with the veterans. If we took one of the veterans late, I just don't feel confident that, there might be some we could have teased apart there, but I'd rather have the guys who put the draft capital in the lineup. So
everyone knows you need a rookie wide receiver that does nothing all year. And then in week 17, they score 2 touchdowns to win you BBM. So that it's
pattern matching.
We have
to tradition.
Exactly. Danny, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
In this year's rookie class, who is the person that you are highest on versus consensus, and who's the person that you would say you're lowest on out of this draft class? I don't know if you know off the top of your head or if you want to think about it for a little bit.
In relation to the higher picks, or in relation to
I would say first 2. I would say first 2 rounds of rookie drafts, so just the household names.
So the number 1 guy that I'm ahead of consensus on, he is my clear 102 in his own tier, and that is Carnell Tate. I had the highest film grade on him compared to the top 3 wide receivers with respect to Jordan Tyson and to Mekhi Lemon. Carnell Tate, realistically, it's the Ohio State factory, 3-level threat wide receiver, can separate at all 3 levels, can, come down with those contested high point catches down the field, 86% contested catch rate this year, 6'3", 195-pound frame. You watch the tape on him, man, he is just so fluid at that frame. I don't want to sound hyperbolic here, but when I watched him, it was hard for me to not say, if this guy reaches his full potential, we could be talking about Devontae Adams. I am that high on Carnell Tate. I'm not of the opinion, because a lot of people are saying, oh, maybe he's T. Higgins. Maybe, he was never the number 1 in college. He won't be the number 1 in the NFL. That is fucking bullshit. I saw Malik Neighbor say it at the fucking draft. Give me a break, Malik. You would have been holding Jeremiah Smith's jockstrap as well. Let's not get it twisted. Let's stop the nonsense, Malik. Justin Jefferson, great wide receiver, right? What was he in his college offense?
Number 2.
So people will come up with whatever narrative is, cool at that time. For me personally, when I watch Carnell Tate, I see a guy that can be one of the 5 to 10 best wide receivers in the league. And in relation, you mentioned lower on. I'm not low on this guy. I guess like compared to the consensus that might take him at the 102, 103. But I do have Jordan Tyson as my clear 105. I did have an 86.5 on him for reference. Carnell Tate was at a 92.5 and Mekhi Lemon was at a 95 in my scale. I do like a lot of what Jordan Tyson provides, but at the same time, hard to get past the bad yards after catch metrics, 6 missed tackles forced on his 61 receptions this year. On top of that, the contested catch numbers, never had a single year above a 50% contested catch rate. You do have the drops, hiding on a year-to-year basis. Ultimately, I do see the athleticism at the catch point, but in terms of the focus and the consistency in terms of his hands, it just didn't show up when I needed it to. And on top of that, very flashy route runner. When he does get open, he can get open to a T, but especially against physical press man corners, that's when you started to see him really fade out. So ultimately, a lot of people are of this mindset. Again, I like Tyson, but the people that are like, oh, he's the clear wide receiver one in this class, and like the only reason he's not talking about that is because of the injury. It's like, well, no, I do think there's holes in this game or holes in his game, and I think you're being disingenuous to that. Because a lot of people I've seen on Twitter like almost, oh, you're crazy for not having him one. Like, I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, I think it's the flashy play factor. Like, I think Tyson, right? He has these big flashy plays.
The highlight tape factor,
Exactly. You see his highlights.
Yeah.
Tate just doesn't have, first of all, he's playing at Ohio State next to Jeremiah Smith. That's the first thing. But then also, like, he's just a smooth athlete, a smooth player where you don't really see those, like, holy shit, like this guy just moves different, like kind of highlight type plays. And just the way his body, right, is built and the way that he moves. So I'm with you. I think Tate is still a great pick at that ADP, right? We said pick 60. I think the Titans situation is like low key.
Love it.
Pretty good.
I love it.
And
I think have 140 plus targets there.
Yeah. And Cam Ward, I mean, we know he's talented. It was a terrible situation there last year. Brian Daboll, say what you want about him, but he can definitely scheme up an offense. And I'm pretty high on Tate as well. So I thank you for going through that for us. Yeah. Hey,
and that was straight from the heart as a Michigan Wolverines fan having to talk.
Yeah, you know it's true. Like that. Yeah, exactly. If you're hyping up an Ohio State guy, you feel strongly about it. Let's be real.
Dude, the minute I started watching,
keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. You've been watching this guy burn you for a few years. I think it was Tate. I swear, back in 20. So last year was in college, would have been 25. Year before was 24. It was 2024, and it was Texas in Jerry World in Dallas versus Ohio State in the college football semifinal. And I was there, and I saw Carnell Tate playing in person, and I remember he had a pretty big impact on that game. So
that guy's a beast.
Yeah, I've seen him burn my teams too. So I'm a believer. I think you just follow the draft capital. It's that simple too, right? Among other things.
He was the OG that beat up on Bishop Sycamore.
Ooh.
I saw that on X the Everything app. That's a crazy pullback. Like, honestly, the internet is wild. Like, sometimes you're just like, holy shit. Like, I can't believe that even happened.
17-year-old high schooler that had like 70 yards and 2 touchdowns on just grown men.
Yeah,
the 30-year-olds.
Yeah,
that's wild. What a throwback to a story.
Danny, we do have one more question for you before we get out of here. Waffles or pancakes? What is your 101 of breakfast? I don't know. It's not really a pastry. Breakfast. Sweet treats.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to start getting used to this come August because Denny's is gonna hit my stomach real quick as somebody with gastro issues. So that's not gonna be fun. The following day after that 24-hour stream, I may or may not be in the toilet. So that will be interesting to look forward to, or for that matter, be scared of. All jokes aside, though, if I had to choose, I would say if you told me I can get top of the line pancakes, I'm getting top of the line pancakes. But if you're telling me I'm getting an average of either, I would take the average waffles over the average pancakes. if that makes sense. If
You're
they're
always
really
thinking
good,
about the range of outcomes. You know, you got to apply fantasy football to to all aspects of life, right? You got to do that.
pancakes done right are better than waffles done right, but average waffles are better than average pancakes, in my opinion.
Makes sense to me. I have one on that note. I have one tip that's not my own tip. I got it from a much better cook than myself. If you're ever making pancakes at home, the secret is use less water than it suggests. They come out way better.
Ooh,
Just
okay,
use less water. They come out just better, fluffier, bigger, crisper on the outside. That's the secret.
Now I need to take you up.
It's that simple. It's that
There you
simple.
go.
Danny, what are you cooking up content-wise this week, this month? You alluded to the Denny's trip. What do you got going on the rest of the summer, brother?
Man, honestly, just kind of taking it week by week. We're obviously doing a lot of, post NFL draft, dynasty, rookie content, startup content. We'll see if we ended up doing another league or something like that. Not 100% sure yet. Maybe a Devy, maybe a dynasty, like who knows. We're probably going to talk about that, but yeah, just going to try to stream, a couple times a week over there. We've been doing a lot of team reviews for the streams that Bindles was talking about. We got some people that are sending in some rag teams sometimes. We also go through some of the most ugly orphan teams that you'll ever possibly do. So, sometimes you got to roll up the sleeves and understand where our dynasty team is at and where we need to take it to be.
Love it. Yeah, and I really like the tools that you guys are using, in the suite of things and the data that you guys are getting into. It's really, I think, interesting to me to see it on the stream too, because I'm a big listener to shows too. Like I love to jump into the chat, say what up, and then listen and multitask and do things around the house or the yard work or the gym and listening in. The things you guys talk about, especially, I always have to, I find myself looking at my phone. I'm trying to like look at what you guys are like describing because I'm like so interested in the numbers and like, dang, there's some pretty good points. And so I like how you guys are bringing that on stream and on screen and like bringing that together. It's been pretty cool.
Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, no, just my favorite part about making content, and I've said it to Corey, it's like, obviously I can hop on, create, a solo video, put some graphics together, but at the end of the day, like my favorite part of doing what I do is just being able to talk about some ball and have conversations, have those talks. Like I learn a lot more about my own rankings by going through it with a conversation than I would just be, spending 15 minutes on Google.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And something I love watching your guys' streams and your guys' content when you and Bush are disagreeing, that is some of the best content there is out on the internet. You guys have known each other for so long. You've been doing content with each other for so long that the dynamic is absolutely electric. So yeah, keep putting in that good work. Definitely.
We'll just get comments sometimes like, what is this freaking Shannon and Skip going on here? Skip, like, yeah, no.
You guys know how to push each other's buttons for sure. It's hilarious.
Rage bait experts.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Candyman, I saw you are streaming with Goofy Chicken Fantasy, one of the rising stars in the space tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
Anything else this weekend you got going on?
Yeah, so I am going live tomorrow night. I'm going to draft with Goofy. It's our first time drafting together, so it'll be real fun. I'm excited to get to know him a little bit better. I am premiering the first episode of my new podcast. It's going to be coming out. I can't guarantee it'll be Monday, but I'm aiming to have it out Monday. I've been working on it behind the scenes. It's called Edge Detection. It's a podcast that I'm putting out. It's going to be short episodes, 5-6 minutes per pod until I bring on some of the best kind of data analysts in the industry. Then I'm going to have longer kind of conversational episodes. And I've got some people lined up that I'm pretty psyched on too, and some things cooking. But the first episode, I'll give a teaser. It's the great debate of who is the RB1 between Bijan and Gibbs. And so I've kind of been dropping some teasers on my Twitter. I dropped a thread on Bijan 2 days ago. I dropped a thread on Gibbs today. The pod that's coming out, it's going to be a kind of a quick episode, but it gives you the rationale and the data of why we're picking one or the other and the base, the bear, and the bull case for both of them. So just a little fun thing I'm starting to cook up and get off the ground. But I'm going to be doing a weekly podcast, just a different media. Right now, it's only on Spotify. I'm trying to get it over to Apple and get all that figured out. But you know how it is, getting things going. And then just streams and stuff. So I'm looking forward to a content-filled summer and all good things ahead. Always fun having you on, Danny. Bindles, thanks for hosting tonight. Bindles, what do you have cooked up this week? Are you going live tomorrow?
I might go live tomorrow night and do some a little bit of drafters. I will also be joining Goofy Chicken over on his channel. I had him on a few weeks ago, and I will be joining him, I believe, Wednesday next week. And we'll see if we might get a little quad box action going on next week as well. So getting back into hot best ball summer. And if you guys haven't already, like the stream, go everyone's information, Danny and Candyman, down below.
One more thing. I don't know if you saw this. WF for Omega in the chat with a $5 dono says Kyler is a very controversial in Dynasty. How much can he rise with potentially phenomenal year in Minnesota? The Kevin O'Connell golden touch.
Danny, what's your Kyler take in Dynasty? I have mine, but I would love to hear yours.
I think at current value, he's definitely a guy that I'm interested in. So initially this offseason, I had him closer to, the sorry, here, let me go to my Dynasty rankings. Apology. I had him closer to like the quarterback 25 range in my rankings, but I recently moved him up once I started, looking at the redraft projection, understanding that realistically in Minnesota, he could go back to top 12 level status. And I raised him to my quarterback 20. I do think if you said you preferred him to like Baker Mayfield, or even for that matter, relatively close to where Jared Goff is, obviously more security with those two quarterbacks. But if Kyler does bounce back, I feel very confident to say that he can at least get, a 3-year bridge deal at $35 million per year.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit, like, I agree. I think Goff is perennially one of like the most underrated assets in Dynasty. Just the stability that he gives you. He's always like top 8 quarterback every single year, and he's not that old. He's 31 turning 32. So I do think Kyler though, like I think the situation is set up very well for him in Minnesota. And I think, he could still rise in value a lot more than like a Goff or a Baker could. So it's a bit of a gamble. I personally like it. I think obviously we've seen much less talented quarterbacks kind of get kind of a revival of their career when they get into a better situation. They mature a little bit. They realize, I got to get my shit together, and they have a good situation around them. I think the stars are kind of aligning for Kyler in that way. So I think he's still a good buy while, there's still the lack of security with the contract and everything. I think, you could see the dividends pay off for sure. So.
Yes, sir.
All right, fellas. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you guys for watching the Ballsy show. Like the stream, and leave a comment after the stream ends. Takes 2 seconds, really helps us out. We appreciate all you guys. Hope you have a very great rest of your Friday night, a great weekend, and we will see you all very soon. Adios.